There are many, but let's try to be kinder to each other. King of Bulls Andre Go joins us now, and it's lovely as always to have you here. I think I'm so proud of it. When you go to a classical concert, you look at the program to see who's coming and which symphony is being played. In my case, they don't know, and I don't tell them. Another gifted musician who brought classical music back into the hearts of millions of people. He is referred to as the King of the Waltz. Yet Andre Rieu was building somewhere behind the glittering stages. A legacy much deeper. His family was devastated to discover that Andre Rieu had secretly accumulated a fortune so large and so carefully planned. This wasn't because they were greedy, but rather because of the immense weight of love, sacrifice, and foresight that went into it. Money isn't the only factor here. It's the story of a man who dedicated every note, every tour, and every moment. This legacy has now taken a startling and heartbreaking turn. Of his life to something more than fame, a secret empire, a gift for his family, and a series of unexpected farewell wishes. What had he been hiding for all these years? You will soon find out. The most beautiful symphony of Andre Rieu's life was never performed on stage. He built an empire worth millions of dollars. Born in 1949 in Maastricht, Netherlands, Andre Rieu was surrounded by music from an early age. His father fostered a deep appreciation for classical music in him, led the Maastricht Symphony Orchestra. But Andre had a different idea. Instead of limiting classical music to performance rooms, he wanted it to be enjoyed in large arenas, with passionate audiences. In 1987, he founded the Johann Strauss Orchestra, with just 12 musicians. Their groundbreaking approach to classical music began with their January Honest, 1988 debut performance. Over the years, the orchestra captivated audiences worldwide, with performances that combined classical music with modern flair. He was outselling well-known pop and rock artists by the early 2000s, and his concerts brought in millions of dollars. His most ambitious project was a full-scale concert stage replica of Vienna's Schönbrunn Palace, which was finished in 2008. This extravagant set, which cost roughly $63 million, featured a gilded chariot ice rink and concerts that were more than just musical performances. Even though Fountains produced amazing performances, the financial strain nearly led to bankruptcy. Andre later reflected on the event, acknowledging the risk, but stating that he had no regrets about pursuing his artistic vision. I was furious because this music is so lovely and deserves to be performed well. You could play Daddy Jump. Despite the financial challenges, he remained steadfast in his dedication to his family and his career, investing and leaving a lasting legacy for his loved ones in. He was not just back by the early 2000s and 10s. He was thriving and began streaming his live performances into movie theaters all over the world, opening up a whole new source of income. In addition to his music, his immense wealth was a tribute to his life's labor and brought tears to his family's eyes, not from sadness, but from a deep sense of pride and appreciation for all that he had accomplished and sacrificed. Suddenly, you could see his extravaganza without traveling by plane, their local theater, and be taken to his world of glittering waltzes, exquisite ball gowns, and soaring violins from all over Europe, the Americas, and even Asia. It was brilliant, personal, and it attracted millions of people. Andre's wife, Marjorie Rieu, was his secret weapon behind the stage lights. She managed the backstage operations, while Andre controlled the spotlight, selecting the most exquisite locations, making the exquisite costumes, and supervising the plot of each performance. Every concert turned into a lovely and moving experience. Pierre Rieu, their son, succeeded her as vice president of Rieu Productions, due to her meticulous attention to detail. He brought with him advanced logistics, management experience, and an improved online presence. The company had changed from being a solo act to a musical dynasty, and every Rieu performance became a family event, entwined with heart work and legacy. He bought his greatest childhood dream, a 15th-century castle in the heart of constructed in 1452. The D'Artagnan Castle wasn't always the magnificent spectacle it is today. When Andre first entered it as a 6-year-old student taking piano lessons, it was dim, wet, and almost spectral. Mustry transformed it into a living fairy tale for millions of dollars. It became his haven, complete with sparkling chandeliers, rare artwork, and gardens that could rival Versailles. Andre gathered history, while others collected jewelry or cars. Say it's a little eerie, but decades later he returned as the master instead of a student, and he also bought the castle. He spent millions renovating it, making it a palace straight out of a fairy tale, complete with marble floors, gold accents, priceless antiques, and vast gardens. The castle has changed from a horrible childhood memory to the height of his career, teeming with opulent music and life. The Globe closed during the 2020. In interviews, he talked about how baking helped him feel less anxious during those months. Back then, he wasn't Maestro Rieu. When the world felt bitter, he was just Andre from Mastery sharing pleasure. It was the most humble act of generosity and proof that a kind-hearted man lay beneath all the wealth and fame. Epidemic and Andre's tour did the same. He did something remarkably commonplace once the music was quiet and millions of dollars in ticket sales were gone. He made cakes for his neighbors only, not for publicity or money. The day the music nearly died, everything nearly fell apart again in 2010 because of a serious ear infection that prevented him from performing for months. This may have seemed like a temporary setback to most people, but the Rieu Empire was experiencing a serious existential crisis, and his family realized for the first time how fragile the empire was, as everything they had built was at risk from a single illness. Beyond just music, Andre's biography reveals human frailty hidden beneath the facade of irresistible success. One man with a violin was the foundation of his $40 million fortune. His sold-out tours, and his orchestra of over 60 players. His demanding schedule, boundless energy, and famed perfectionism made doctors wonder why he hadn't passed out sooner. His illness served as a wake-up call for the entire Rieu family. His legacy transcends fame and fortune because it is about tenacity, love, selflessness, and humanity. It is the story of a man who made violins and waltzes, made classical music a global movement, and never lost sight of what was truly important. His family, generosity, and unwavering spirit are what made his business fail, along with his health, which is why his family began to cry over the terrible knowledge that they might lose him. Andre Rieu had a unique brand that set him apart from other musicians. His concerts were extravagant events that cost millions to start and run. They were more than just musical performances with extensive marketing. His wealth was far more valuable than the joy he brought to the world, and the glory it bestowed upon him. The strain is unbearable when your entire business depends on your ability to perform every night, everywhere in the world. The Rieu Empire may have been made or broken by each show, and while his fans were busy buying tickets and dancing to his songs, Andre was quietly becoming a real estate tycoon. Every performance was a multi-million-dollar gamble, complete with orchestras, lights, costumes, and gorgeous settings. If he couldn't make it, the entire operation would stall. This risk became horrifyingly real in 2010, when he battled a severe ear infection. Was not restricted to the stage. Everyone knew about his famous MRE castle, but few knew that he had quietly and gradually invested millions in luxurious homes across Europe to build a king-sized real estate portfolio. He wasn't just a collector of castles, he was also collecting history. His 3 real Stradivarius violins are worth millions of dollars each, and his most recent one, made in 1692, was purchased for £7 million in 2018, a gem that deserves to be displayed in a museum. These violins weren't luxury items for Andre. They were testaments to his unwavering dedication to perfection and extensions of his soul. It's no accident that beautiful dresses, shimmering textiles, and romantic waltz imagery come to mind when you think of Stradivarius, one of the oldest instruments ever built. The first one he owned was made in 1667. Andre didn't care that the game was notoriously difficult to play. He turned adversity into gold by using it to record some of his best-selling records. The costumes were made to evoke 19th-century glamour, pristine elegance, and a dramatic flair, drawing inspiration from royal icons like the Empress Elizabeth of Austria. Each gown cost about £3,000, and for the visual experience alone, you could easily spend over 100,000 on costumes. When you multiply that by 30 or more orchestra members per tour, Andre Rieu's performances, he made the dresses his female musicians wore himself. Yes, Andre is not a fashion house or stylist. Andre never slowed down despite everything, including illness, economic downturns, and nearly going bankrupt. He expanded his brand internationally, performing live in Tokyo, Toronto, Melbourne, and Madrid. His face appeared on DVDs, records, posters, streaming services, and movie broadcasts, and the money kept coming in. Without accounting for the real estate, the instruments, or the branding empire, his wealth had skyrocketed to $40 million. When he was a little boy, I always dreamed that I would marry a girl with whom I would work. And I think that's the perfect way to get married. But he remained grounded despite the stress, the glamour, and the quiet battles. Because in his heart, he was still that Maastricht youngster who fell in love with music in a haunted old castle. Is the £34 million gambling too much? Imagine building 3 complete replica palace stages, each more lavish than the last. And then taking his dream was to transform the Schönbrunn Palace in Vienna into a live breathing stage for his performances, complete with dancers, fountains, chandeliers, and even carriages drawn by white horses. The project cost an incredible £34 million, but it was more than just a stage. It was a tribute to André's drive. The goal was to give fans an immersive experience that had never been achieved by classical music. But the cost nearly broke him, and he was in danger of going bankrupt because it was not a stroke of luck, rather, it was a combination of strong will, fervent fan loyalty, and astute business reconstruction. André bore the wounds of a difficult upbringing while surrounded by chandeliers and expensive instruments. He was raised in a small Maastricht home with 5 children and little warmth. Although he was a skilled conductor, his father did not often give him affection. Sales were insufficient to cover expenses, but he persevered through the dark until he paid off his debts and emerged stronger than before. Much like a crescendo in a symphony, with every sold-out show, every million-dollar tour, and every glittering chandelier, André was trying to fill the void left by his youth. He was seeking not only success, but also acceptance, showing the world and possibly his parents that he was more than enough. Grand stages and thundering acclaim were not the only aspects of the journey. André began with a small band in 1978, consisting of 12 members. His mom was even more difficult. The image of André playing Vivaldi while spinning pizza dough is heartbreaking and humorous, because he was on the verge of giving up music. However, he reimagined rather than gave up. His legacy was defined by the leap he took in 1987, motivated by his musical hero, and he founded the Johann Strauss Orchestra. He performed in local haunts and wedding venues, waltzing away in the background, as guests frequently ignored them chewing their steak. Strauss, a businessman and composer, once had 5 orchestras, playing simultaneously throughout Europe. That vision caught André's attention, and he fixed it by creating the largest privately owned orchestra in the world. André's rise was gradual, until that fateful night in 1995, when Ajax and Bayern Munich were playing in the Champions League quarterfinal. The entire Netherlands was watching TV, and Ajax's goal just before halftime sent the nation into a frenzy, which André followed, had bought exactly 1 minute of national television airtime. Millions of people were already captivated by Ajax's goal when André's orchestra suddenly started playing the second waltz. It was bold, calculated, and unforgettable. Sales of the record soared the following day, and he soon gained international recognition. He broke records and became a global classical superstar after selling over 200,000 CDs in the following week. It was more than just a clever move. It was the perfect combination of talent, timing, and clever marketing. He also meant it when he said, "Music should be a celebration." Each performance was a tribute to elegance, love, and life. And even though his fans loved it, they wanted glitz, passion, and life-altering experiences, instead of stuffy suits and quiet. André then produced every time. For most musicians, performing at Carnegie Hall is their dream, and seeing André perform on the moon is their dream. He talked to billionaire Richard Branson, the space tourism tycoon behind Virgin Galactic, about the possibility of building a hotel on the moon. Why? Because André Rieu wanted to play the first orchestra concert in space. Crazy, maybe, but this person helped Strauss waltzes outsell Metallica and Beyoncé. André is the one who could make lunar music a reality. Branson was not amused, saying he would try to make $1 million a month, or it will all fall apart. It's not even close to being cheap to run the André machine. It costs nearly $1 million a month just to keep the lights on and the bows tied. And that's before he rents a space or sells. As opposed to large orchestras supported by governments, colleges, or billionaires, he had no major label, no sponsorships, and no guarantee of success in the late 1980s. His dream was a small group of dedicated musicians, and his obsession with reviving the excitement of classical music. André took the risk every year by starting a traveling musical family in addition to a business. His team of musicians, lighting technicians, costumers, carpenters, and cooks traveled like a well-oiled circus from Mexico to Sydney, putting up elaborate performances in each location, with little time between arrival and performance. A single ticket. Every performance is a tightrope walk for money. One tour is canceled. Everything falls apart, and there could be dozens of job losses. Andre also planned a worldwide film. As it screened in theaters around the world, the celebration of his 75th birthday in 2025 was not a farewell, but rather a celebration of how a master child turned dreams into music and music into magic. Rather than simply throwing a party with never before seen videos from concerts all over the world, the Dream Continues evolved into a retrospective film that included personal behind-the-scenes events, anecdotes, and emotion. Fans were able to witness his legacy in a way that had never been possible before. His world of international music was first upended by a vinyl collection that contained over 300 LPs that belonged to his Jewish father-in-law, Edgar Koshman. These records were lively and eclectic, and in addition to being classical, they introduced Andre to Latin ballads, French music, Chant klezmer, and other music. One of their songs, Hava Nagila, won over 14 million views on YouTube and became a concert favorite. Another, Jerusalem of Gold, received standing ovations and a great deal of praise when they performed live in Israel. There was more to it than a birthday. A coronation took place, but terror accompanied wealth, even among family members. His legacy is so vast and intimate that it causes his loved ones to feel both strain and pride. Andre Rieu is still the undisputed waltz king, not just because of his music, but also because of his foresight, perseverance, and crazy antics. As a musician, he crossed cultural boundaries and threw the greatest party imaginable when 75 arrived, with his entire orchestra on board, violins flying, and tuxedos glittering. Andre Rieu's final performance was more than just music. It was a heartfelt homage that brought his family to tears. What did he leave behind? In your opinion, music, love, or something else? Please leave your thoughts in the comments section below, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more heartwarming tales.